What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Budgets and Brews morning coffee break, where we discuss, chat, and ramble about last week's top 20 financial headlines. Today is February 7th, 2021.
And we're going to provide you with our thoughts on the most flavorful stories after we run through our top 20 headlines. If any of these appeal to you, click the link in the description for the full article. And just so you know, you can watch these episodes on YouTube if you're currently listening via our podcast. So get your coffee ready and let's start brewing. All right, first up is Toys R Us has closed its final 2 stores. So we have all been waiting for this to happen. We knew it was coming. Last week was the day.
Yeah, I feel like they've been on the decline since like the 90s, but
Yeah.
So we'll see. Next, we got some gun news. Americans purchased more than 2 million firearms last month. That's an 80% increase from the earlier year, according to WAPO analysts. This is the third highest monthly total on record for gun purchases.
And if you're interested to find out why, check the article.
Yep.
Next up, we have Nike launched a lace-free, hands-free, slip-on sneaker. Once again, go ahead and click that, and you'll be able to see what it actually looks like. It's very, very interesting.
Competing with Crocs there or something.
Yeah, right.
All right, next up, we have Venmo is under investigation by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau over its debt collection practices. So, Venmo, we got our eyes on you. You better watch it.
All right, SpaceX, I know this is Tony's favorite. He loves SpaceX. Will fly 4 tourists into space later this year. That is, to me, it's sort of mind-blowing. We're just a casual vacation to go into space.
My next up here is, according to Bloomberg, Oatly AB, the maker of vegan food and drink products, is considering seeking a valuation around $10 billion in the U.S. listed IPO. So they may be going public soon. Something to look out for.
Yeah. All right, Jeff Bezos announced he will depart as CEO and transition into executive chairman for Amazon. So someone has taken their place. Obviously, a lot of reorganization going on there. So interesting to keep up to date on what's going on at Amazon.
Yeah, I'd like to see how that will impact their stock in this upcoming week, quarter, month, stuff like that. Next here, I have Ford is slowing its production of F-150s because everyone together now, there is a global chip shortage. In other news, it's pledging to spend $29 billion on electric and autonomous vehicles through 2025. Pretty cool.
Wow. Uber announced last week that it's acquiring Drizly, a Boston-based 9-year-old alcohol delivery service. So that is, now you can get food and someone's gonna drive and bring you some alcohol.
I can get my beers and my alcohol booze Ubered to me. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Next here, I have cannabis stocks have been on a roll since President Biden's election. Bulls have high hopes that the administration will soften the U.S. harsh cannabis laws. Pot stocks surged even further this week after senators' support to prioritize marijuana reform is in work. So they're talking about that in Congress to essentially prioritize the marijuana reform, which is pretty cool.
All right, Tesla recalled about 135,000 Model S and Model X vehicles over touchscreen issues. So
It ain't so. Tesla.
It's so. It's so. Yeah, I didn't think it was coming. It came.
Yep.
Recall.
Having a little trouble there. Next year, I have PayPal is breaking records. The company has stated that it's processed a record $936 billion in payments last year. I think these profits are mostly due to COVID-19 boosting online sales, but check the link out if you want to learn more.
Yeah. Greek yogurt company Chobani is considering an IPO later this year. But of course, why not? Every other company is. But the bonus, what does Chobani mean? It actually means shepherd. It's Turkish. Huh.
Wow, I did not know that, but I do love Chobani yogurt. I am a full supporter of them. I might be looking to buy some of their stock.
There you go.
I got here, next up is Wheels Up. The so-called Uber for private aviation is going public via SPAC. In a deal that values the company at $2 billion. This is like the Uber of private jets, and they're apparently going to go public, so pretty cool.
Although wheels up doesn't really describe that for me. Like I think
No,
wheels
it
up, I think
doesn't.
of maybe like a skateboard or something like that. I don't know.
Anything.
I wouldn't think, a jet service. Like, okay. Peloton sale grew 128% last quarter, but it is still struggling to deliver products on time. So it's actually pouring a lot of its gains into its supply chain, meaning less profits. But I did own Peloton at one time.
I do.
One time I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I own a little bit of their stock, and I think it's good that they're working on that like infrastructure for to distribute properly. It's going to help them overall. So it sounds like they had a great year last year, so that's good. Ford again here. Ford will use will use Google's Android operating system to power its infotainment systems in its cars starting in 2023. So once they start the production of those vehicle models, they're going to use Google's Android operating system. Pretty cool.
I actually like Google's better though. I mean, that should be a coin. Someone should name that, like coin the term or something like that. Hey, there's a nice company. Okay, Family Dollar is taking its Instacart delivery partnership nationwide. So now we have another player involved in Instacart. For those who don't know, it's a grocery pickup app. You request from, I don't know where, Giant Eagle or Mark's or Aldi or somewhere like that. They drop your groceries off. Now you could do Family Dollar. What do you know?
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I have here for the next headline, prominent consulting shop McKinsey & Company has agreed to pay DC and most U.S. states and territories $573 million for its role in the opioid epidemic. This is the first nationwide settlement to take place.
Wow. My last one on my list, Kroger plans to close 2 Long Beach, California stores after the city institute a Heroes Pay. The Heroes Pay requires grocery store employees to be paid an additional $4 an hour. Kroger said, we're not having it. You can't afford that. We're closing the stores.
Wow.
Simple as that.
Wow. I wonder how that's going to affect the company's like overall outlook and stuff, but pretty cool. Last topic of the day, could your next stimulus check be just weeks away? Will you get the full $1,400? You can check out the link here. Things are moving very, very quickly in Congress and Senate, so hopefully we'll have something soon.
Awesome. And that wraps up our list. But Tony, is there anything on there that stuck out to you that maybe you want to cover in more detail?
Yeah, so I really wanted to talk about Ford and the car companies and Google's Android operating system coming. And it seems like all these automakers, they are all trending towards electronic vehicles, right? So there was news here that Ford is going to spend $29 billion on electric and autonomous vehicles through 2025. $29 billion. That is not a small chunk of change, just 4 to 5 years from now that they're going to be putting into this sector of their vehicle development. So it seems to be like a really hot trending topic that I've been seeing week after week with different vehicle manufacturers and producers going for this autonomous vehicles and electric vehicle kind of production. So is this something that you're excited about, as excited as I am about, Rich? You see this continuing that trend?
I mean, I'm...
Yeah.
It's exciting news. It's great. I am more interested to see with all of these electronic vehicles that are coming out there now, and they're partnering with whether it's Android or now you have Apple Play and all these different things like that. The privacy, that's where it sort of piques my interest. That's just very interesting because I was reading a couple articles and a lot of these self-driving cars, they're monitoring
where you're going,
acceleration. They're monitoring where we're going with the GPS coordinates, and we're going into these different shopping plazas and things like that. How we're driving, are we using our turn signal when we're switching lanes? And then they can communicate with different insurance companies, right? And at the same time,
how's your data being shared? Yep.
How's it being shared? They can communicate with other with advertisers, such as those. I think we talked about in one of our episodes, when you're driving by with your car, there's a billboard posted up here. Whatever it says on that billboard, it knows that you drive by there X amount of time. So it might be, hey, your
target
information is being,
target advertising.
Exactly, shared with someone else. We know these amount of people go past this billboard and they shop at these locations and whatnot. Like maybe it's behoove them to slap up an ad over there of something like that. So it's just very interesting, all that other data that is out there.
I think that's a good thing to be concerned about, because it's not like the 1930s when you get your Model T or whatever you're driving, it's all mechanical. There's no electronics at all. Vehicles are they're moving towards being autonomous, right? And they're moving towards being electric. So cars are becoming more like computers. And when you're online, when you're using your computer, everything's being tracked. You always see those cookie alerts popping up and stuff like that. Like, your data's being tracked. You're going to get targeted ads. Is that something we're going to see come to vehicles? And then, like you said, everything's being tracked. So do you have the option to opt out of these privacy things? Maybe you don't want your vehicle information being sold to insurance companies so they can give you a specific rate for you. Maybe you just don't want that. So it'll be interesting to see if you'll have the option to do that kind of stuff. And then another thing that I think is really, really cool, and this is more on the technology side instead of privacy, but like, most cars now, I can plug in my iPhone. Now I get Apple CarPlay popping up on my thing. Ford's now bringing in Google's Android operating system. So like, the way your car integrates directly with your phone is like, it's really becoming like seamless. Many of these cars, they have these wireless charging ports. You just put your phone down in the cup holder in the special tray. Your phone's charging, connects right up. Everything's Bluetooth. You got to make a call. You click the button, Siri pops up, or whoever Android has pops up. And it's just really cool to see all this stuff happening. And I'm like debating, because I'm in the market for a car. Should I buy a gas powered car? Should I look into a hybrid? Should I look into an electric vehicle? Because the industry is booming. And I really think this is something, like, me personally, I'm going to invest pretty heavily in the upcoming years, if it continues this way, into autonomous cars, electric vehicles, the different companies that support these practices, because a lot of that infrastructure, I believe, is being placed in all over the United States and all over the world for them.
And you have hackers, right? So that there are privacy, security issues. Like, if they can get into your phone, like, you have an app now that you can start your car. You can, from that, you could do a whole bunch of different things. It's, if they hack the phone, can they get into your car? Can they hack your car? We've heard stories where they have, and they accelerated, your gas pedal and things like that. And all of a sudden, whoa, or cut the brakes, or
playing with your locks, up and down the windows.
So yeah, it's scary on that side, but hopefully they can develop obviously really good firewalls to sort of prevent that. But there's a lot of unknowns, I would say. And so for me to devote and go fully electronic, autonomous right now, and with the prices being where they're at, I would like to wait another 5 years and just sit back and just watch to see what happens, because now there are so many players being involved in here with people. Apple's partnering with Hyundai, and all these car companies are partnering with somebody who's going to try to help make their autonomous cars and things like that. So I sort of just want to look, see how it plays out, and see which ones come ahead and which ones fall.
That's a really cool thing you just mentioned there, is Apple is making an Apple car. Right. This is a company that made electronics for years that could fit inside a bag on a carry-on on a plane. Now they're going to develop a vehicle. And it's cool to see them partnering with Hyundai to work on this. And I think there's even other partnerships in the works there as well. Really interested to see how this is going to come out and what this car is going to look like. It's just really, really cool. But, one thing we talked about previously for your mention, on being on the side of, I'm not going to buy into this right now, is, think about these electric cars, think about all these autonomous vehicles. This is all new technology. So if you get a Tesla, first of all, your car is X amount of money to insure, and then you break a headlight, you break a thing. If you're not fixing this stuff yourself, if you can't buy the parts yourself, a lot of times you have to go to these certified Tesla dealerships. It could cost you a lot of money to replace this kind of like expensive technology. So that's something to consider before you go out and just buy a car because you think it's cool. They're not really standardized yet. You don't see 1,000 Tesla. I mean, Teslas are becoming more popular year after year, but it's not like everyone's driving them,
And you got to think about also too, like the neighborhood. I just noticed the other day I was driving, and the layout of where I'm located, went to a place to go get some food. The parking lot in there, so close cornered. There's people all over the place. Like, I'm like, you're just wedged in. So it's like, I just don't even want where my city is. I feel like it's just not that car friendly. And so it's just like, I would hate to spend all that money on something. And then I also live where it snows. And so you're talking potholes and all that stuff and salt, and just to spend that money on a car and then have it sort of just get beat up a little bit, roughed up.
It's definitely something I would want to do a lot of research, and like a lot of research before considering buying something fully electric. I mean, you don't want to be like stranded somewhere and like not have a charging station to go to, or repairs and what they cost and what the real thing is. But that's all I wanted to touch on. I think it's really cool to see the development 100%. Of these electric vehicles. But yeah, I don't think I'm on board 100%, but I just love the technology integration. I love the technology integration. It's really cool.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode, and we hope you enjoyed your morning coffee. Tune in next week to see what news is brewing. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and stay up to date with the current finance trends. Also, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to help support our channel. That does it. See ya.
See ya.